Okay, in the original game, let me turn that. In the original game, when we get a bunch wrong, this game over object appears. It has a button inside. When you click this, you can replay. So we need to make a child object. See this, when there's an object inside of another one, the relationship is known as a parent, and then inside of it is known as the child. It's whoever, somebody named it that way. And so inside of the canvas is where we do this. So we're gonna right click on the parent object, and we're gonna say create empty. We're gonna call this game over. Okay, and then inside of that, we just leave the position at 0, 0, 0. Okay, we want to make sure it's at 0, 0, 0, and that'll center it inside the canvas. And then we are going to right click and say, we're going to create a UI button. It says Text Mesh Pro. Ooh, we could use the Text Mesh Pro that we used before, or you could just do Legacy. If you want to, if you've downloaded Text Mesh Pro stuff in the past, you can do that. Let's go with Legacy, since that's probably what I did in the original. And what you need to do here is, let's go ahead and you could open this up and you could select the text box and say play again. So there's a little arrow and I changed it there, and I'm gonna go ahead and just take this tool here and enlarge the button that way. You could use numbers up here if you want to do it that way. You can, there's a lot of different, we could do a whole lesson on how to make buttons. I just changed the font size here. You could pick bold if you want. You could select the button and you could like maybe pick a different shape if you wanted to. Okay. You know, there's these different ones, options. I'm gonna just go Command Z and get it back to that one. Okay, so so we have the game over and we have this button, and then we're just gonna simply select game over and turn it off. It's in Unity it's known as active or inactive, so we're gonna set it to inactive. And then in the scripts, I created this little field here for you. So in the game over panel, we're gonna go ahead and just drag this in here, and then when I hit save, Command S, and when I push play, and if I get 5 clicks wrong, I mash the buttons. That's why it and when you click, it's not playing again, is it? Let me push. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 a little slower in case you missed that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And hit play again, nothing happens. 2 things I want to do. First of all, I don't like how this overlaps. If you want to fix that, you have to get out of play mode. You select this, and you could just simply drag the box further to the right. You might want to do that for the score too, in case you get 1,000,000 points. Now, if I push play and get a bunch wrong, it shouldn't jump down to another line. See how I did that? Just stretch it out. It was basically just getting to the edge of the box and then hitting going to the next line. So when I push play, I want to reset it. And I already wrote the code about, you know, what happens when you click that if you have the right function attached to it. So how do I get this right function attached to it? Select your button. If you want to see it, you could just set this whole game over object to active, and then select the button. And in Unity, they handle buttons like this. You have this on click event. So they put some code in there that registers when a player is clicking, and you hit this plus sign, and what it's looking for is an object that has some code attached to it. And so we have that scripts file, right? So when I click there, it has some code attached to it. And then so now it's really good. Unity is able to look through this object, find the code file that's on there, and then look through it. What code files are on there? There's one called Game Manager, right? And then it has some functions in there, and I wrote a function in that file called restart game. So you could just select it. Okay, so now when I push play, Let's see, game over. Let's just see what happens if I leave the button on there already. Oh, it turned it off. So I guess I had written code in there, I forgot by now, that makes it checks and says, hey, if you're in the middle of a game, set that to inactive. So let's play for a while and get 3 wrong or 5 wrong. And then there's the button. Let's click it. Now that the code is attached to it, the game restarts. Pretty genius, right? And if you want to, if you're like, where the heck is all that code? You can click this. It'll go to the script. It'll kind of like highlight that, and then you can, all the code's in here, and you could search through it and stuff, and like see what we wrote earlier. You could push Command F to find stuff. So I wrote a function called restart game. Okay, and then it's right here. So I just set this stuff, and you could just read through here. You can give yourself more points. That's a good way to start looking through code. You could change speeds in here. Any of these public fields, like if you change this number, it's weird. Once you've saved it once, you actually, once it's public, you could change that to private. But when you make it public, it means they thought maybe users of Unity would want to edit in this inspector instead. So once you make it public, it appears here. Like if I go in the code and I change this variable to private, it'll disappear from the inspector. And then you could change the values here to like increase the speed, make things super fast and stuff. Let's just see if that's 0.05. That's a very small number. Let's change it to 0.3, and let's see. I'm not even sure what that is. That's the arrows probably. No, it wasn't the arrows. I don't know. Let's Command Z. You can play around with these and see what they do. Play around and see what. The increase is after you go through levels. I wrote it so that you get a bump. That's why that number's so small. Every time you internally, it's registering how many you get, and then the speed keeps increasing as you play the game. The base speed is probably what it starts at. I wrote this a while back, so I'm trying to remember my own code. So I changed from 3 to 8, so the base speed should start at 8. Yeah, see, they're a lot faster there. So that's the base speed was 3, and then the increased speed is there. So you'll increase as the game goes on. Okay, so go ahead and by now you should have your scores on, and this replay button, I'm going to go ahead and set it inactive for now. And go ahead and have fun. Have fun.